Okay, folks. Well, the Golden Globes just got over here just a couple minutes ago, and it's too bad. I mean, I'm not running off of little sleep, but it feels a lot later than what it is right now. But too bad. We got a lot to talk about here. Damn. I didn't do so hot for my predictions here. Let's see. I guess I didn't count along the way, but let's see here. Two, three, four, five, six, seven of the categories I got right, and that's out of 15 categories. So yeah, I'm under 50%. So much for this being a chalky Golden Globes, right? Yeah. So I guess the biggest winner tonight on the film side it has to be, of course, Emilia Perez, which came in with 10 nominations, and it actually won four categories, including Best Motion Picture Comedy Musical, Best Non-English Language Film, which I think we all had it down for the most part. Supporting Actress for Zoe Saldana, which again I think a majority of us had it down for, and El Mal for Best Song, which again majority of us had it down for. So three of its wins were expected. The Motion Picture Comedy one, I had mentioned it was kind of close, but boy, the front runner for that category, Honora just excuse me, Honora just had a terrible night, absolutely terrible. Couldn't lost all of its categories. How many? It had five nominations, as I recall. Couldn't win anything. Couldn't win anything. Yeah. Bad night for Neon. Going 0 for 5 there. Otherwise, on the drama side, The Brutalist did about as well as expected. It did pick up Adrian Brody for Best Actor, which I had, and I went away from it just to be different. That should have been one I stuck with. Did win, though, for Best Film Drama, which I had it down for, and Best Director for Brady Corbett, or Corbett, which I had it down for. I've heard both pronunciations, but I don't know. All the pronunciations tonight were way different than what I've heard all season. Like Coralie Farjay, or however, I heard like six different pronunciations of that through the night. So I'm like, I don't know what the proper pronunciation is. Let's see. Otherwise, there weren't too many other repeat winners. I mean, it was like The Substance, which I had getting snubbed for everything. That ended up taking Best Actress Comedy Musical in one of the biggest upsets. Sebastian Stan, who I believe I had in sixth place, he won Best Actor Comedy Musical. It's like, what are we doing? It's like, this is crazy. Fernanda Torres won in Best Actress Drama over both Nicole Kidman and Angelina Jolie. I had her clear down in like fourth or fifth place, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Otherwise, yeah, Kieran Culkin was one I got right for supporting actor for A Real Pain. I did not get screenplay right. They went with Conclave there over Honora. Challengers won for score. I wasn't even close to picking Challengers on that. And then animated feature went to Flow. Nope, didn't have that one either. I thought The Wild Robot. So Wild Robot didn't go home with anything. Nora didn't go home with anything. Complete Unknown went 0 for 3. So yeah, they were not afraid to turn down some, but they were also spreading the wealth. So it's hard to predict that kind of environment there sometimes. Now, that being said, there's once in a while we see films like, I remember back in 2019, The Irishman. I think almost everyone had The Irishman losing everything at the Globes because there just wasn't a right spot to pick it. And I thought that was going to be the case tonight for something like The Substance, but nope, they picked me more over both, actually over three possible other winners, like Mikey Madison, Carlos Fia Gascon, which again, it's like, okay, you're not going to give Amelia Perez that category, but you're going to give it almost everything else that it could have won. And they didn't give it to Cynthia Erivo either, who I thought maybe had a small kind of outside shot to win. But dang, I mean, and then the Sebastian Stan thing, where did that come from? I haven't, that's a film I haven't seen yet either. But it's like, God, it's like, I know it was kind of a tougher category because it's like, okay, Jesse Eisenberg's really the only one who's kind of close to making it here into the Oscars in this Best Actor lineup. But yeah, they didn't give it to him. They didn't even give it to Glenn Powell, who people thought maybe could win this category back in September, October. Not even Hugh Grant, who repeated it at Critics' Choice and, of course, was on the BAFTA Longlist. And, of course, tonight, yes, we are going to go into the BAFTA Longlist because there's a few things to talk about there, of course. I don't, even though I've had a few days to look it over and stuff. I don't have official predictions yet for BAFTA. I think we'll just do that for the nomination predictions, the day or 2 days before BAFTA announces their nominees on the 15th. 15th. Yep. Okay. Boy, where to begin? Because again, when you get less than half of your predictions right, especially when it's a very chalky, looking ceremony where it's like, okay, it feels like it should be this, and then they just go on their own. They just go on their own path here. It's kind of hard to know where to begin here. I guess just go through the categories. We'll just say, okay, does this have any impact on the race? Does this totally throw the race into whack? What are we doing here? I don't know. I guess let's start it innocently enough with the my least favorite category, the cinematic and box office achievement, which went to Wicked. That was one of the easier categories to predict, and luckily that one wasn't a weird curveball. And again, we figured Wicked was probably not going to win for motion picture comedy musical, but by the end I was like, all bets are off. And it was like, yeah, I don't know, maybe Amelia Perez can get it, maybe Nora still, because I didn't see a path where it's like, okay, Nora loses everything and then wins comedy musical, so I knew by the end, I'm like, okay, because that was the last award, I'm like, probably not. And also, it went to show, I think CBS and everyone was expecting it to go to Wicked or something, like they wanted the show to end on that note, because traditionally you go with the drama film last, and sometimes they'll even go with musical or comedy film, sometimes they'll throw that into like the middle of the show, like it'll be around the 2-hour mark of the traditionally 3-hour broadcast. It's usually kind of close to the middle there, not at the peak, not at the very, very tail end. So that was a little strange too. But anyways, so at least they gave Wicked the cinematic and box office achievement thing, which again, it's kind of a gimmick. It's just a gimme award. It's like, yeah, let's just go ahead just so it doesn't go home empty-handed. Let's give it that. For the two music categories, El Mal winning for song, about what we expected. Yeah, I don't see that one really struggling the rest of the way. I think it'll, even with Mi Camino probably likely to also get nominated, I don't see that one coming up short. I think it will be El Mal. For the score category, they went with Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross for Challengers. I'm going to have to remind myself here. Are they just a Globe favorite at this point? Let's see, because I'll have to look up how many times have they won the Globe here. This is their third win. They won for Soul in 2020. I think that was shared with another composer, and they won for The Social Network. And they've been nominated 6 times for the score category, and they were both on the song Compress Repress this year, also from Challengers. So technically they have 7 nominations. So maybe just whenever they get nominated, just put them a little higher. Don't just put them in last, So maybe that's just a Globes thing then. Yeah, because I thought this one would go to Conclave. It felt like, a place, in case Conclave was going to lose Drama Picture, which it ended up doing. If it loses Director and some of those other categories, which it ended up losing. Yeah, but, yeah, so as far as, does this put them in for the Oscar and everything? I don't know. I don't, I should probably bring up my predictions here. Where do I don't have them in right now for score. Let's see here. Because they're on the short list. Obviously, if they had not made the short list, then yeah, this would be a little bit of it's a surprise, but it's not going to carry over. Because right now my 5 are Brutalist, Conclave, Blitz, Amelia Perez, Wild Robot. We'll see. I think Hans Zimmer sometimes gets benefit of the doubt. We'll see. But the Blitz thing with the BAFTA Longlist and stuff, we'll talk about that, of course. But does this put them more in it? Arguably, yes, but, when we look at it here, I have to remind myself here, did they also get nominated at Critics' Choice, or did they miss on that one? Hang on a minute, let's see. No, they did make the list for score. Okay. They are also nominated there. I don't expect they're going to repeat there. If they do, then okay, I'm just wrong, and they're just, maybe they are on their way to another Oscar win. But, yeah, I guess it ended up, Challengers, I guess, was one they really liked, which, sure, it ended up with 4 nominations, but it's like, we knew Zendaya was not going to win. We knew the song was very unlikely to win. What was its other nomination again? Oh, musical comedy film, that's right. We knew it was probably not going to win there, so weird. Okay, Honora can go 0 for 5, but challengers, we can't let challengers go home empty-handed. That was a little strange. I think that's more a Resner Ross thing. They just really like them. Let's see. Then next we go to screenplay, which went to Conclave, and again, this was a spot where it's like, okay, if Conclave wasn't going to win for score, and as ended up being true, false with my prediction with the Ray Fiennes thing, which didn't happen either, it kind of makes sense they would go with screenplay here. A Conclave, I think, will win for adapted screenplay. I don't really think it's... I don't want to say it's not close in that category, because I think Emilia Perez will be kind of in the hunt to win, but I would say Conclave is pretty far ahead of it right now, and as far as its chances to win and stuff, I think Conclave will clear that adapted screenplay category. But yeah, this ended up being the spot they gave it to Conclave. The two supporting races went as I expected. That's Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez and Kieran Culkin for Real Pain. Is this... I think my biggest question here is not necessarily, okay, how does this impact the future? It's like, as far as will they get nominated, because we all know they will, but is it possibly another steamroll season for these two categories? Will we just keep seeing them be repeat winners through the rest of the year? Possibly. Zoe's speech, which I don't know, maybe we'll talk about some of the speeches and stuff from the show later. We've got a lot to go through, so I'll try to keep those comments brief. But Zoe's speech was very impassioned and very, just very genuine, I thought. Very much like a thing where it's like, yeah, she probably was, somewhat prepared, but once you get up there, it's kind of hard to, hard to be, spot on and be precise, because it's like, as she said, there's so much adrenaline going through you and stuff. So yeah, her speech was very impassioned. And Kieran Culkin, I think, that category, we're pretty sure Denzel is in. Yora looks pretty solid. Guy Pearce looks good. And then Kieran, it's like that fifth slot is going to be kind of interesting. Is it Ed Norton? Is it possibly Clarence Macklin? Is it maybe Stanley Tucci, who I still believe right now? It could possibly be Jeremy Strong, who was also nominated here at the Globes tonight. Is it maybe someone else we're not thinking of? Could it be possibly even Mark Edelstein, who's also in Honora, who we'll talk about with the BAFTA Longlist, because he's on that. But I don't know. For the winner, yeah, I think Kieran, especially if someone like a Clarence Macklin, who has kind of a narrative with his nomination and performance stuff, if he's kind of on the bubble to get in, I don't know. I think that's going to be a struggle for him to overtake Kieran at this point. And I think A Real Pain, again, I feel like it's kind of an actor's movie, so I think the acting branch is really going to gravitate toward him. Not that means the rest of the Academy will. But if they can get... because at this point, I'm not sure about Jesse Eisenberg's chances either in Best Actor. We'll get more on that later. Not just the loss tonight, but it's like he just kind of has struggled here in the last few days. Not great, but yeah. But yeah, Kieran looks pretty solid at this point. For the lead acting categories... I'm embarrassed. I went 0 for 4 here. None of these were right predictions. Best Actress Comedy Musical, Demi Moore. I had Mikey Madison, as I believe a lot of people had. If you didn't pick her, a lot of people picked Carla Sofia Gascon. And if you weren't with that bunch, you were probably with Cynthia Erivo. I didn't see anybody that gave Demi Moore a solid chance here. But that being said, it is, kind of an historic award for, what she described on stage as a comeback role. Or did she describe it, or did someone else describe? Or yeah, the host or somebody else described it as a comeback role. And yeah, and then as the announcer said, she has been nominated several times by the Golden Globes. Obviously, she's never been nominated by the Oscars, but she's been nominated for one film performance for Ghost. Otherwise, she produced If These Walls Could Talk, which she was also nominated for, which was a made-for-TV... Was that a movie or a miniseries? Movie. Okay. I wasn't super familiar with it, so... Yeah. So it does show, yeah, that she has, she has had some nominations in the past and everything, and, boy, and again, The Substance, which did overperform on Golden Globes nomination morning, it did show that, yes, they do want to give that film something, so they ended up giving it to Demi Moore. Now, here's the thing. Right now, I do not have her in for Best Actress. She is on the BAFTA shortlist, which we all thought she would be. I would have been very surprised if she had been left off. We did have a major surprise for someone who was left off that list, though. someone who really could have benefited from winning tonight and did not. We'll get to that as well. But yeah, this is making me say, okay, so for the substance, is this just one now that it's like, okay, maybe it is in for picture, maybe it is in for director, maybe it's got the two acting races, screenplay and makeup, and could it possibly lurk in one or two other surprise categories? Maybe this is actually a huge, kind of breakout discovery film this year. And with Demi's win here tonight, boy, yeah, I don't know. Because, yeah, when we look at this category in the past, we do sometimes see those kind of bubble nominees win here and then fall off. I'll look at a couple past examples here. You could argue back in 2021, Rachel Zegler was something of a bubble nominee. She won this for West Side Story, ended up missing the Oscars. Awkwafina was a bubble candidate for 2019's The Farewell. That ended up getting snubbed by the Oscars in its entirety. There's another big one here. Yep, Amy Adams for Big Eyes very much was a bubble nominee. Won this category, ended up not getting nominated at the Oscars. I thought there was one other. Sally Hawkins. Yes, Sally Hawkins is the one I was going to go to. Yep, I was looking through the list here. For Happy Go Lucky. Big, had a lot of nominations that year. Let me remind myself here, because I think she got virtually everything she could have. Let's look here again. And it was weird because it ended up being nominated for screenplay, which means, certain Academy members saw it, but yeah, for whatever reason, yeah, she didn't make it. So yeah, that's weird. When I looked up, I thought, okay, maybe I'm misreading here. Did she not get in at SAG at least that year? I'm saying that she missed SAG. Okay, maybe she. Well, yeah. Either way, she was a bubble candidate that year, and ended up missing. So it's really at this point either I'm just wrong or maybe Demi is not on the bubble anymore. Maybe she's solidly in, and I've just been kind of looking at it wrong. But she could very easily be that next kind of bubble candidate that falls off. But we'll see. I'll give it some time and stuff, because with 6 slots too between this Critics' Choice and the BAFTAs, it doesn't help us when we wheel it down to 5 at the Oscars. And I'm very convinced here on Wednesday she will make it in for SAG, so I think she'll be nominated there at SAG amongst 5 nominees. So we'll just see. We'll just see who else is who's kind of out at SAG, who could possibly come back in when we get to the Oscars. So, boy, but yeah, for Demi's candidacy, wow, this was a not that it was a much needed shot in the arm, but it's a shot in the arm for sure. Something that tells us, yeah, this is, again, possibly a bubble candidate, but maybe someone who's going to jump off that bubble and be more solidly in than some of us, like myself, are currently predicting. Sebastian Stan. Oh, my goodness. Boy. The thing is, he won this for A Different Man, which arguably I think is a little lower on the list of priorities right now for voters across the rest of the way. When we do look at long list contenders here, Sebastian Stan was listed at BAFTA, but he's listed for The Apprentice, which he did not win for. He won for A Different Man. And being a double nominee here tonight, okay, maybe that is something that we should have looked at a little closer and stuff, but even then, it's like, I don't know. I felt Jesse Eisenberg just felt really solid here. He is not on the list for Best Actor at the BAFTAs, which hurts him. Overall, a real pain at BAFTA. Let me double check here. It only got longlisted in screenplay and supporting actor, which, yeah, shows the Brits are not really digging that film way too much. Not that it was like totally expected to be on the list of 10 films, but boy, yeah, not a great weekend for them in that terms. Now they did, yeah, again with the win for Karen Culkin, that's that's obviously something, but yeah, it kind of feels like, okay, at this rate, maybe it's not Jesse Eisenberg in that 5th slot for Best Actor right now. Now, as far as Sebastian Stan, will he repeat at the Oscars for this specific role? That's going to be tough. It is shortlisted for like makeup, for example, at the Oscars. Let's see here. I was going to say, I don't remember. I was going to say, let me triple check here, because I don't remember it being longlisted for anything at BAFTA. Not even the makeup category, which I'm double checking right now, but yes, it was not even longlisted there. So, and again, that the reason I kind of point towards BAFTA here a lot more is because that's the most significant crossover of voters between Oscars and any other award show. Is BAFTA is the biggest one. So I do tend to kind of look at them and their insight a little bit. Their opening the bubble a little bit and opening the window a little bit to see, okay, who's longlisted and stuff. That really can shake some of these categories up and stuff. But yeah, Different Man is not longlisted for anything at BAFTA. The only thing it was shortlisted for at the Oscars was makeup. Sebastian is competing against himself for The Apprentice. The fact that he won for this, you could argue as far as will it help his candidacy? I don't think so. Not when, okay, the voters that were going to put him in for The Apprentice are now possibly going to put him in for A Different Man. Because remember, it's the ones with the most number one votes. Once you get whittled down to 5, yeah, when you're going against yourself, that can be very, very, very tough in that environment. So, yeah, I don't really think that's a great thing for Sebastian. Now, I could end up being completely dead wrong here, but I don't know. This makes it, the winning for this film and not for The Apprentice for his candidacy and stuff. That I think that hurts him more than it helps him. Yeah, and as far as Hugh Grant, who's also again like we said longlisted at BAFTA, I don't think he was gonna win tonight, but if he had won, okay, then we can maybe more arguably say okay he maybe has a better chance to get in for Best Actor, but we'll see. I don't think he's really like a 6, 7, 8 candidate for me in Best Actor right now. He's probably closer to that 10, 11, 12 range, but yeah. Then Best Actress Drama, they went with Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. This I was like, yeah, I thought Angelina Jolie had this maybe not under lock and key, but she certainly felt like a much more predictive winner here. Nope, instead they go with I'm Still Here. Now, Miss Torres, as I recall, also is not longlisted at BAFTA. Does not help. So, yeah. So if she's going to get in, she's going to have to fight against, some of the candidates who are more, on that list, like Cynthia Erivo's on that list. Demi Moore is on that list. Kate Winslet is on that list. Marianne Jean-Baptiste, who was not nominated tonight at the Globes, she's on that list, even you can argue Saoirse Ronan for The Outrun is on that list, but Fernanda Torres is not. Now, Fernanda, I think also we've traditionally seen that, international films really struggle at SAG. I don't expect her to break in at SAG on Wednesday. If she does, okay, then it's that kind of flips the entire race on its head. But yeah, I think for this, I don't know. It's like, is this a kooky Globes thing? I mean, we look again last year, at a lot of their winners, and it's like the majority of their winners, though, last year, like none of the 6 acting winners ended up like falling short of the Oscar race. Like, Lily Gladstone and Emma Stone were both nominated. Cillian Murphy and Paul Giamatti were both nominated. Divine Joy Randolph and Robert Downey Jr. both repeated through most, if not all, of the awards season for their stuff. Going back to the year before, Austin Butler and Colin Farrell were both nominated. Cate Blanchett and Michelle Yeoh were both nominated. Ke Huy Quan, he won. Angela Bassett was at least nominated when she won here for Black Panther. So, yeah. So it's like they haven't gone with like a kooky winner in the acting categories who doesn't even make the Oscar nominees for a while here. I think you could argue back in the year of COVID with the 2020 films. So like Rosamund Pike, she ended up not getting nominated, but when you look at it, none of her competitors did either. It's like I think everyone who got nominated was in that drama category. And the same would go, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, or 4 of the 5 for drama were nominated for Best Actor that year. I have to remind myself here, who was the 5th nominee that year? Oh boy. Riz Ahmed, Anthony Hopkins, Gary Oldman, Chadwick Boseman. Who was the 5th one? I'm trying to remember who the 5th one was that year, but I don't know. Maybe I'm Okay, this is gonna bug me. I gotta look up who did they compete with that year? Was that hold on? Stephen Yun for Minari. That's right. Okay, yeah, Minari got in. That's right. And that was, I think, again, that was one of the last years where the Globes didn't. Was that the last year the Globes did not allow you to be up for international film and not best film, which obviously tonight Amelia Perez, would have prevented that as well. Yes, you could argue that year, and then the one I'm thinking of the year before was Aquafina. Yep, she did not carry over. And then also that actually no, that sorry, it was that same year. Jodie Foster, yeah, that's the one. Jodie Foster, yeah, winning supporting actress. Ended up Glenn Close, Olivia Colman, and Amanda Seyfried were all nominated, but the other two, Helena Zengel and Jodie Foster, they did not repeat at the Oscars for nominations. So yeah, so we have to go back quite a ways before you get some of those. So this is going to be an interesting thing here. Because if you go with recent Globes history here, that would mean that Zoe Saldana and Kieran Culkin are both in. True. That means Sebastian Stan's breaking in somewhere. That means Demi Moore is in. That means Fernanda Torres is in. Okay, and that would that knocks quite a few, especially with Fernanda Torres and Demi Moore both in. That would knock out automatically two of my contenders. I'd have to kick out someone in Best Actor, which arguably okay, I could say Jesse Eisenberg. But again, if you're going to go Sebastian Stan, do you go with the one he actually won for tonight, which is going to be A Different Man? Which again, right now, does both that and The Apprentice are both films that are really not super high on like the on the watch list of a lot of people. I mean, as far as priority of films, I think The Brutalist is way up there. If you haven't gotten to that one yet, if you haven't, like me, you haven't gotten to Complete Unknown or some of these other ones, it's like some of these more later released films. Then yeah, you're kind of prioritizing those over stuff like A Different Man, which came out pretty early, and if you didn't see it at the festivals or when it was briefly in theaters, you haven't seen it, unless you've caught up with it on streaming since. But yeah, boy, so yeah. And the Fernanda Torres thing, one of the thing I'm thinking of, and it's been something, it's been brought up every time, but it's like, is the family connection with her mother was let me remind myself here, what was that? Because I had not known the name of the actress, but she's the daughter of Fernanda Montenegro, and the thing everybody brings up is that she was nominated as one of the first, if not the first, Brazilian actresses to be nominated by an awards body. So. Here in the States, I should say, but yeah, and then she got in also for the Oscars as well for Central Station. That's the big movie, of course. Yeah, well, she got a couple other things that year. Yeah, Globes, Oscar. Yeah, because BAFTA didn't put her in. And the BAFTA rules back then were a little interesting because if it wasn't released the same year, it didn't qualify. So you'd see some films, like a year or two later, finally get nominated or potentially win. So yeah, there is that question of will it kind of be Oscar history in that way too. So it makes it interesting. I don't know, realistically how likely it is, but it could be interesting. Yeah, does that, and again, the biggest thing, too, with Angelina Jolie, not only did she lose tonight, she's not on the list for BAFTA. 10 nominees, she's not one of them. For someone who is arguably in second or third place for Best Actress, that's rough. That is rough. That is really rough. That's on the level of, like, I recall from 2018 when we had... Oh, Jesus Christ, I can't remember now. Sorry, it's getting later at night, so my memory's failing me here. But when it was... Oh, Lord, I can see her face. Oh, God, I can't even remember the name of the movie. Oh, fuck me, I can't fucking remember who won. Supporting actress that year. She missed SAG and she missed BAFTA, ended up still winning the Oscar. That's that territory. That's like when you're missing these early ones, it's like, oof, sometimes that really hurts the candidacy. Sometimes you bounce back and you can still win, but yeah, I can't even remember the name of the movie. God, it's the guy who did Moonlight, whose name I'm also nope, I can't even remember the name of the goddamn director of the movie. I'm screwed. All right, let's keep going. Yeah. God, it feels like it's 2 a.m. to me. I'm sorry. It's been a night. Some of these categories kind of went unexpectedly. For Best Actor, going to Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. This is one I had him for a while to win. I just switched away from him and went with Ralph Fiennes in a kind of mini upset, just because I wasn't 100% sure where they were going to go with Conclave. But yep, they ended up giving it screenplay at least, so it got that. But yeah. Adrian, yeah, we know he's solidly in for Best Actor. It's just a question of can he repeat all the way to get his second Oscar, which, based on the speech tonight and stuff, yeah, I'd say he's really good. And by the way, Demi's speech was amazing. Sebastian Stan's speech was really, really great too. Fernandez was pretty good and everything. So, yeah, there's no, obviously, I always say every year when it comes to the speeches at a lot of these award shows, I say, look, it's your moment. You can say whatever the hell you want to say, be as controversial or as please, or there's a word I'm looking for here. I'm forgetting it too. Agreeable as you want, as whatever, as non-controversial as you want to be. You can be that as well. So yeah, so that I don't really raise too much umbrage with. Yeah, this could have been a spot because some people were saying, what about Timothée Chalamet, or in my case, what about Ralph Fiennes? It's like some of these contenders I think were really, really close here, but yeah, with Adrian winning here, yeah, I think he's again more solidly lining himself up here. And my kind of theory about possibly him getting overlooked by the Globes the year he won the Oscar for The Pianist, that whole theory I think is out the window. He could very easily just get on a track here and just start winning. Okay, just a few categories left. Best Director going to Brady Corbett for The Brutalist. I think a lot of us had that. Brady, even if The Brutalist doesn't end up winning Best Picture, I think Brady could easily just start right now and start winning everything for Best Director. It's been described as the kind of directorial achievement of the year, with a big 3.5-hour runtime and the epic scale, shooting it on real film and everything. This is all stuff that's just catnip to a lot of these early voting bodies and stuff, as far as trying to cement an early winner and stuff. So yeah, and especially when we get to like DGA and the Directors Guild and stuff, or the Directors Branch, I should say, at the Academy. Yes, these are all things that they really, really say yes to. So yeah, we'd mentioned. The way I've got this organized is all the film categories are at the top here. So let's talk about non-English language film going to Emilia Perez. Yeah, I didn't really expect an upset here either. It's probably got the Oscar in hand too for this category as well. And we could have surmised that from back when it was officially selected as well. Flow winning for animated film. This was also unexpected. It's an original film as well, so that was my assumption. I was like, they'll go with Wild Robot, and somehow Wild Robot again got shut out here tonight. Boy, I don't know. Does this mean it's done for Wild Robot done for winning Best Animated Feature? Of course not. This category, it's been correct here a few years in a row. Pinocchio won, Boy and the Heron won, Encanto, as I recall, Encanto repeated, did it not? I thought so. Yes, it won. Yeah, I overthought that one for a second here. Soul, I remember Soul repeating. Last time they got this category wrong was actually Missing Link, which won over Toy Story 4, which was the last sequel to win. They gave it to Spider-Man. They gave it to Coco. Again, Coco, I believe, won. Yep. Zootopia won. The original Inside Out won. Really, the last one, otherwise, you have to go to is Big Hero 6 losing here to How to Train Your Dragon 2. So this category has been more right than not. And Flow, by the way, I've already got it down for both animated feature and for international feature. I think it's going to be nominated for both. I'd be a little surprised at this rate if it does not get nominated for both. But boy, its win here tonight shows, this is a movie that once the voters see it, they really like it. So The Academy at large, if enough people, actually sit down and watch it, because I'm sure majority of them have seen Wild Robot. That's the more popular film. Of course, many of them have also seen Moana 2 and Inside Out 2. Those were two of the higher grossing films of the year. It's actually number 1 and number 3, I believe, at this rate after this weekend at the box office, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah. 3 or 4, whichever. I thought Moana 2 climbed up to number 3 now for 2024. But, yeah. And then we have, Amelia Perez, which we talked about, winning for Comedy Musical. Again, here's the thing. I think this thing is on its way potentially to getting as high as 14 Oscar nominations on Oscar nominations morning, leading all films. I think regardless of whether it gets those or not, it's almost certainly going to get, enough nominations to lead nominees Oscar morning. So, again, usually when a film is in that type of spot, it's usually the front runner. La La Land was. Titanic was. Clear Back in the Day, All About Eve was. So, if Amelia Perez is on that track, then, okay, its win here tonight is kind of repeating that historical fact. Then again, La La Land ended up winning Best Picture for about 2 minutes, as we always say, and then it actually did not win. So, I wouldn't be shocked if we see that trend continue here. Because Amelia Perez, again, it's going to have its moments on Oscar night. Again, song, it's probably going to have. International feature, it's going to have. Zoe Saldana, she could have started her path, tonight. That's to an inevitable Oscar win. Very much could have done that here tonight, cemented a status there. Otherwise, I'm looking, across its potentially other nominees here in the different categories, and I'm kind of struggling right now. Which other ones can it win? Because, I think director, Brady might have that under lock and key. Best actress now, it's like, okay, Mikey can still win. Enora being shut out here tonight was not a great sign, but it can still win. The fact that Angelina Jolie didn't win here tonight, maybe that helps her a little bit. Otherwise, adapted screenplay, I think it's in the hunt to win. It could be in second or third place, but I think Conclave is too strong in that category. Cinematography, probably going to lose. Film editing, probably going to lose. It might not make either of the design categories. Makeup and hairstyling, I have it in, but there's a potential it doesn't get nominated. Score, it'll be nominated, but might not win. Like we said, we know it's in for song. The sound category, it's probably in. Won't win, but it'll get nominated. So, yeah, it's like I don't necessarily see it only winning, 3 or 4 awards and walking away with Best Picture. I don't know. So I think again, this was more a deal of the Oscars the Hollywood Foreign Press, they really like the movie, giving it 10 nominations. It probably should have been more expectant that it is probably the front runner in that category. But, as far as Wicked's chance to win Best Picture, this probably, I don't know if it's a nail in the coffin, but it certainly doesn't help them. A win tonight would have given them a little bit of a cheer moment, but I still think Wicked's going to do just fine at the Oscars. Actually, as of right now, let me check my math here. I've got it in for 8 categories, so I think it's going to do just fine. It'll be in that second tier of nominees, I believe, as far as, number of nominations and stuff. They could have used a win here tonight. Enora losing here tonight, not only losing this category, but losing everything, losing screenplay and losing Best Actress. Boy, I don't know. Because director and supporting actor, which was its other 2 nominations here tonight at the Globes, we were pretty sure it was a long shot to win those 2 categories. But boy, does that mean, at least right now, that the voting bodies are hating the movie? That's kind of hard to say. I mean, I'm trying to remember here. Let's look back maybe not really quick, but I'd have to, and maybe this is a thing I'll do off air here, but I'm trying to remember, were there any eventually Oscar-winning films, like Best Picture nominees, or films that, we don't have to say Best Picture winners, rather, not even Best Picture winners, but also just films that won multiple Oscars that were shut out by the Globes? I'm just trying to remember here, which films won multiple bigger Oscars, like, top 8 categories, especially. Because obviously we see films like Dune, for example. Like, the first Dune won a bunch of competitive Oscars. I don't think it won anything at the Globes that year, so maybe it won for score, but otherwise it didn't do extremely well. I don't know. So again, is this just, and again, the big thing I have to stress too with this, if you're a Nora, don't be extremely worried that you're like all of a sudden at risk of like missing out on a picture nomination or something. No. That's silly. Let's not forget here, the Hollywood Foreign Press has no overlap with the Academy as far as voting members. So it doesn't mean that a Nora is in huge trouble. Now, if we go over again, let's look at some more solid facts here. A Nora at BAFTA is longlisted in picture, director, screenplay, lead actress, 2 supporting actors, the casting award, cinematography, and editing. 9 spots, 8 different categories. That's pretty damn good. Now, I would argue a Nora with even with its director being from America and everything, and part of its cast being from all over, this does almost kind of feel like it has some European style to it, though, doesn't it? With the mad caper part in the second act and the whole, that it has very much like a French comedy kind of aspect to its second act. So once I kind of got that under, got that impression and stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, this thing can totally, land a best film nomination at BAFTA and everything, and it can break into that spot where it's only 5 nominees and stuff. So I really don't think it's going to struggle at BAFTA. I'm still, I'm a little late to the train, but I think it can get in for ensemble at SAG. I'm not like, betting the farm on it, but I've got it into my 5. I think it can totally get in. So again, just because Honora had a bad night tonight, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Does it, is it not great karma going forward? Sure. But I don't know. We'll just, again, when we look at the end of the Oscar night, will we really go back to the Globes here and say, we knew it started here? I don't know. I have my doubts. I have my doubts that it's going to like go 0 for 5 or 0 for 6 or 0 for 7 or whatever it ends up with at the Oscars. I really don't think they're going to just skip over it in every category. I don't see that outcome as likely. And then, the Brutalist winning for drama film. I think this helps it definitely get a leg up on some of its other competitors, possibly at the Oscars. I have it in, to win Best Picture right now, so I don't know if that's necessarily, tonight's support is going to like necessarily push it in that direction. If it had won for, let's say it had won for supporting actress or supporting actor or something, or maybe it had surprised us in screenplay or something, then it's like, maybe this movie really is, just being that beloved across some of these awards bodies and stuff. And, and it did miss Felicity Jones, for example, at the Critics' Choice. Otherwise, it landed just about everything it was expected to there. When we get to BAFTA, I believe it's shortlisted, let me count here, film, director, screenplay, lead actor, supporting actress, supporting actor, best cast, cinematography, score, production design, sound. So, really the only one I could have really gotten maybe was costume design, which I haven't expected that one to get into costume design. It could sneak in at the Oscars and surprise us as like that 5th spot, but otherwise, did it not get in for editing, though? That's weird. Editing's weird. Yeah. It's weird. When I look through this list here, a couple times since it came out on Friday, I could have sworn I saw it in that editing list. Okay, maybe not. Anyways, but most of the speeches, if not all the speeches tonight, were really good. I mean, some of them, again, are more standouts than others. It's, again, I think I listed my particular favorite. Adrian Brody's was really good. Demi Moore's was fantastic, and Sebastian Stan's was really good, and Zoe's was very passionate, and that one was really fantastic to watch and everything. So, Yeah, those were some of my favorite speeches of the night from the film side. I had a lot of those stuff, some sports stuff that I was watching. So whenever it was a TV category, I kind of muted it for a while. So I have no idea how good or bad those speeches were. So if you're expecting, some feedback on those, nope, I don't have any. So yeah, Nikki Glazer I thought was a really good host. Some dark comedy in there, which I really liked. I like that they kind of let her just do whatever. Some of her jokes were really good, though. Again, about the only thing she didn't touch was, and she had talked about it a little bit, I think, on some social media or pre-interviews before the show. She didn't touch the stuff with what's her name, Gossip Girl. I'm sorry to have to do it that way, but God, damn it, it is so late. I cannot think right now. I can see her face. Blake Lively. There we go. Blake Lively and the whole lawsuit thing she has against her co-star in the big movie she did that I didn't see. She said she wasn't going to touch that. Obviously, I don't think she was going to touch what happened. The news we learned about Aubrey Plaza's late husband with his whole situation and everything. And again, sorry, it's super late, so I can't remember his name. But yeah, the fact that they weren't going to touch that either. And Brady had a nod to him in one of his speeches, which was really nice. But yeah, obviously there was some stuff there they weren't going to touch. But yeah, they went some darker places though with some of her stuff, which I appreciated. I'm glad that they didn't. They didn't do that. I don't know how well received it's going to be, but at least I thought it was good. I thought it was good that they let her just kind of say whatever she wanted to say. Okay, so let's go ahead and dump some thoughts into the BAFTA Longlist here. But I guess the general consensus here from a lot of people is, yep, Amelia Perez did very well. And also, as expected, Conclave did very well here at BAFTA in the long lists. Brutalist, as we mentioned here, that's up for, 9 spots? I already lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 spots. But one of them is weirdly not for the editing category, so that's weird. Otherwise, let's see. Dune, as I recall... Dune is in 10 spots. Substance, the Substance got quite a few. That's listed in for 11 different possible nominations. So that one did extremely well. And then Wicked. Wicked ended up doing better than I expected here at BAFTA. That's also down for 10 spots, as I am counting here. Yes, 10 spots. So... that one did pretty well, because I'd mentioned ahead of time I was a little worried about like Cynthia Erivo, for example, maybe missing the long list. But nope, she's right there. It was a different competitor who missed. So, yeah. I don't know. Is it easier just to go down the list here, start at the top from Best Picture, or Best Film in this case, and talk about what's in, what's out? I guess so, yeah. And talk about, because I think for films that missed here, in key performances, I think we'll just go category by category. But since we are talking best film, if there's a movie overall that I thought just really tanked here at BAFTA, which there is one, which I have in for Best Picture, that did not do well. Actually, hold on. Was it one or two? Technically two. Yeah, two films did not do very well here at BAFTA. Yeah, we'll mention those here really quick as well, since we're talking best film overall. But the 10 films, they cut it to, I could have sworn they cut it, they had like more of these last year, but again, no time to talk about it. Let's just go ahead and dive in. The 10 films that could be selected for best film: Anora, The Apprentice, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, Kneecap, The Substance, and Wicked. So as this list is coming out, I have 6 of those in for Best Picture. One, over the weekend here, I've looked at a couple things, and based on how a certain contender did here that I've been mentioning for weeks now, I said if this film does not do extremely well on the lists, I gotta cut it, and we do have to cut Blitz. So I'm cutting Blitz, and I did put in Complete Unknown for my 10th slot right now for Picture. That being said, I'll mention Blitz here in a little bit. Blitz actually still is shortlisted here in 7 categories, though, so it didn't do awful. It's just, I don't know. I just feel like, okay, if it had gotten 8, 9, 10, then I would have been like, yep, I'm keeping it for sure. But as it is right now, and when I look at which ones it's shortlisted in that it can or cannot repeat at the Oscars, I looked at it again. I'm just like, I don't think I can hang on to it any longer. So yeah, that one's gone for my Best Picture predictions at least. But yes, of the arguable top 4 or 5 competitors, they're all here. Sing Sing is missing here. That's not great for Sing Sing. Not that I expected BAFTA to love it outright, but it's only shortlisted here, by the way, for Sing Sing, in 3 categories, and that's Screenplay, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor. Yeah, which, maybe it ends up with those nominations plus Best Picture, which is what I'm currently predicting for its Oscar performance. But even then, not being shortlisted in film, that doesn't help you. The other big loser here, I think, from BAFTA was Nickel Boys. Oh boy, Nickel Boys. BAFTA did not enjoy Nickel Boys. The only category it got shortlisted in, or longlisted, I should say in this case, was Screenplay. Which, from the very beginning of the season, I thought Screenplay was a shoo-in. Everything else, no. Cinematography, no. Acting races, no. Director, no. Picture, no. That's not great for a competitor that we already know is not like a top 3 or 4, and everything. So that one, I'm a little worried that one could drop off, and we could be, again, The Substance, I don't have that in right now. A Real Pain, which we'll double check here. A Real Pain, that's only shortlisted in a couple categories. Kieran Culkin and the screenplay, that's it. That one struggled here at BAFTA. We don't expect it to get in for ensemble nomination at SAG. Kieran Culkin is pretty much a lock at SAG, but that's about it. Kieran Culkin he could possibly lose BAFTA here, the same way that Ke Huy Quan. He steamrolled everything else that year, still lost at BAFTA. September 5 was another one that was kind of a contender that I was worried about. That one didn't get shortlisted anywhere. Absolutely no support for that film. Not editing, not screenplay, nothing. That really hurts that movie big time. Another one that I think really could have benefited here at BAFTA, Seed of the Sacred Fig, which is kind of a fringe contender right now, that kind of 11 to 15 range. One stop for that film, and that's film not in the English language. Yeah, nothing for director, nothing for its screenplay, nothing like that. Otherwise, Gladiator 2, which I've not been a huge proponent of that one getting in for like Best Picture. It is up for British film. Otherwise, Denzel, who is not going to get in here at BAFTA. They hate him at BAFTA. It is also shortlisted in cinematography, and then a lot of these, both the design categories. Editing, it actually got in for one of its spots. Score, it's in. What else? Visual effects and sound. Yep, sound is below it here. So, yeah. Otherwise, let's see here. Who else? What other movies do people have for Best Picture here? I think that's about it. So, yeah, some of these are doing better than others, but not a great moment here for those films, particularly Nickel Boys. Really, which again, I was not expecting it to be shortlisted or longlisted in more than like say 5 categories. To only get the 1, not great. So that really does, especially like Anjanou Taylor-Ellis in Supporting Actress, really does not help her. Its director, whose name is escaping me for the moment here, it's Ramel Ross, really does not help him. So he's only, really at this moment, he's only got the Critics' Choice nomination. DGA is really going to need to save him, I think, if he's going to continue to be a candidate here. DGA really needs to save him. Otherwise, he could be toast for his possible nomination. He's really in trouble here, I think. We can go with Best British Film next, which they have 15 shortlisted here. Back to Black, Bird, Blitz, Civil War, Conclave, Gladiator 2, Hard Truths, Kneecap, Lee, Love Lies Bleeding, The Outrun, Paddington in Peru, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, We Live in Time, and Wicked Little Letters. Those are all eligible for British film. Yeah, not much comment here because, again, none of these are, obviously, there's not a British category at the Oscars, thank God. But, a joke. But anyways, yeah, 10 of these get nominated, so you only have to chop off 5. So we'll see. Not much crosstalk on those right now. As far as though we should go back to best film, the surprise inclusions. How about The Apprentice? Getting in for film? And that one actually ends up being longlisted in 6 categories, if I'm counting right: film, screenplay, 2 acting categories, casting, and makeup and hairstyling. So, okay, it's also shortlisted at the Oscars for its makeup, so we know they're aware of the movie. So, yeah, and again, like we mentioned, Sebastian Stan is also longlisted here for Best Actor. We'll get to that category here shortly, but okay. And then, yeah, now Kneecap, something like Kneecap kind of makes sense here. That one's actually longlisted here in 7 different categories, British film is also included there. It's also up for the outstanding debut of a British writer-director, best film not in the English language, screenplay, casting, and its last one is film editing. So, yeah, that one, it doesn't totally throw me for a loop that one, did make the long list here, but coming from Ireland and everything, it does make sense. Now, will it end up with a film nomination? That's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough, but yeah, it's almost certainly gonna be in for film and not in the English language, and for best British film though. So I think that one will do just fine in those categories. Let's see. So for other films not in the English language that are longlisted, we have All We Imagine Is Light, Black Dog, The Count of Monte Cristo, Emilia Perez, Flow, Girl with the Needle, I'm Still Here. We mentioned Kneecap, yep. La Carima, and Seed of the Sacred Fig. When we look at our list here, at the Oscars, let me pull that list up here. Really the only one, let me double check my math here. Actually, no. Yeah, all 5 of mine for the Oscars right now are in. There's a question of because one of the films that everybody really likes here, Vermilio, which was also nominated at the Globes, that did not make the list here at BAFTA. There's a question of eligibility on that one for me, and then also How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies, which is kind of another kind of popular pick-ish. I would still call it kind of an outside pick here at the Oscars, but it is shortlisted, so it's not totally out of it. Dahomey is also here at longlisted at the Oscars, or I always crisscross them, whatever. You get what I mean. That one did also. I have a question of whether or not it qualified here. We can quickly look at the doc category too, doc feature category. The ones that cross over here at the Oscars, you have Daughters. That one crosses over, as I recall. Yep, that one's here. You have not the Elton John one. Elton John is nominated here at BAFTA, or eligible here at BAFTA, but otherwise No Other Land, which I think is the arguable frontrunner for doc feature right now. That one is here. And then Will and Harper is also here. Yeah, and one thing, I didn't mention it the day of the short list, but Superman not getting in. Maybe that's one I should have taken more time and talked about, but the day of it coming out, I was, I've seen the advertising for it and everything, and myself, I think I've said it before on camera here, but the original Superman, Richard Donner, 78, I think it's still the pinnacle. It's still the top. It's the best superhero film that's ever been done. So seeing the ads for it and stuff, it did. I don't know. Part of me wants to avoid watching the doc because I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to get through it. I'm just afraid I'm going to get too emotional watching it. But just watching the previews for it and then seeing some of the real life interviews with the kids and stuff, it's like when you hear about some minor spoilers about what else happens around the family with that movie, not just their relationship with Christopher Reeve before and after the accident where he was paralyzed, but it was like everything else that happened. Oh my! Some of that I just did not know, and once I learned about it, I'm like, oh my God! It just makes it that much more tragic for all the personal lives of the immediate family of Christopher Reeve and stuff. So, oh man, I don't know if I could get through it. So I've not seen that. It didn't make the short list for the Oscars, which goes to further prove if you have a popular subject matter, whether it's Mr. Rogers or the Apollo missions, or some of the other ones that are escaping my mind right now that have been left off the nominees when it comes to Oscars, just go ahead going forward, just bet on that, because they just, unless you're March of the Penguins or Bowling for Columbine or like one of those, you can go back to Roger and Me being one of the early, God damn it, oh my God, his, Moore, right? When his, Roger and Me being left out and stuff. Yeah, you can go back anytime you have a popular documentary that's not March of the Penguins or, one of those rare exceptions, the Oscars aren't going to go for it. So just go ahead and skip it. King Richard, that's another, there was a one about King Richard, right? The Al Pacino one. That was another one that did not make the documentary list back in the 90s. That was super upsetting. Hoop Dreams. Hoop Dreams is another king of the crossed and looked over documentaries too. So, yeah. So we probably should have talked more about it that morning or that afternoon, evening, whatever time it was. But it was one that once I saw it was missing, though, and kind of fully realized it, I'm like, I'm not surprised, though. I'm really not surprised because, yeah, and same with like the Elton John doc getting looked over at the Oscars. It made the shortlist for its song, but not for the documentary. Again, popular subject matter. Don't color me shocked anymore. Just do not color me shocked anymore. Let's go to animated film. Here there's only going to be 4 nominees at BAFTA, but the, how many is it? 8 films, so they're going to whittle this down in half. 8 films in are Despicable Me 4, Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Moana 2, That Christmas, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. Of these, the 5 I have in are all here. Technically, I have to cross one out when we get to predictions here, but otherwise, Despicable Me 4, I think, could land a nomination. I don't know. I haven't heard much about That Christmas or a couple of these other ones, so yeah. All right, next up is the director list. 10 nominees here. This will get whittled down to 6. And let me read the rules here. Just so we understand, because, this is where we get some trickiness here. Members of the directing chapter vote for their top 10 to determine the long list, of which the top women and men directors and directors who identify as non-binary, gender diverse, and any mixed gender directing teams within the voting results range of the top 10 men directors will be longlisted to a max of 11, with gender parity upheld between women and men directors. The directing chapter will vote for the 6 nominations. Okay, because here's the thing. When I looked at this, you'll notice something here with these 10 nominees. It's split. You've got Palia Kapadia for All We Imagine Is Light, Sean Baker for Honora, Brady Corbett for The Brutalist, Edward Berger for Conclave, Denis Villeneuve for Dune Part 2, Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez, Alice Renoir for La Cameria, Ellen Couras for Lee, Nora Fingsheet for The Outrun, and Coralie Farge for The Substance. That's an even split. That's 5 females and 5 male directors. So, because remember there was a rule here where it was going to be like half and half or whatever when they ended up with the final nominees. But in this case, it will just be 6 directors. Of these here, let me look here, because obviously, I think all my director nominees made the list. The 5 I have in right now, they're all here. Nothing for John M. Chu, which, once he missed the Globes, I kind of knew that was probably not going to happen. Mohammad Razaloff could have really used a spot here, but didn't happen. Ridley Scott, if he was arguably, he's missed everything. I didn't think he was going to come back in here for BAFTA, but that I felt like that was kind of a last-second shot for him. But, Coralie, is she really... I think she's really gunning for one of those spots now. She's really one I'm really starting to consider more so than some of these other ones here. Like, I feel like Denis expendable here. The other 4, it's going to be really tough. Like, Edward Berger, sure, he missed the nominations before. I can see him making the list, though, still, with Conclave being so high on the list for many. I don't imagine Jacques Audiard missing for Emilia Perez, especially if that ends up being a 12, 13, 14 nominee film. I don't see how you could nominate that many categories, some in repeat categories potentially, and then leave him off the director list. I just don't see how they can do that, even though it is a separate branch. Plus, he's got, with more international voters, we do have, Edward Berger and Jacques Audiard not being originally from the U.S. Denis, as I recall, is a Canadian filmmaker, French-Canadian. So, plus he's been a past nominee. Brady definitely has that, quality to him with The Brutalist, even though he is American-born. Sean Baker, his film and everything has that kind of European style. So all these 5 really fit. It's just going to be if Coralie can make it. So, yeah, it depends on who she can kick out. Let's see here. Next we'll go to the screenplay categories. Original screenplay, the 10 selected here are All We Imagine Is Light, Honora, The Apprentice, The Brutalist, Challengers, Civil War, Heretic, Kneecap, A Real Pain, and The Substance. On my behalf, I have... The only one I have, and this is strange that it didn't get in here, Hard Truths. I've had that one for a while. I had September 5. After September 5 did so poorly here at BAFTA, though, and that it is a very mixed bag across the awards season here, I've taken that one out for screenplay, and I've put in Hard Truths back in. They could go All We Imagine Is Light. The Seed of the Sacred Fig could get in here as well. Both one of those, though, Seed of the Sacred Fig, of course, did not make it in for screenplay here, so... yeah, that hurts that one. On the adapted side, we have A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Lee, Nickel Boys, Night Bitch, The Outrun, Sing Sing, and Wicked getting in. And right now, I've got those 5. I've got my 5 match up here. Wicked making it here and also being nominated by the Critics' Choice shows, okay, maybe this actually could be a possible nominee here. I wouldn't put it in over, say, like Nickel Boys. I wouldn't put it in over Sing Sing, but I don't know. I think the one I'd have to cross out maybe be Dune Part 2, but we'll see. Lead actress, 10 here. That will be whittled down to 6. And there's only 5 that'll get in for screenplays. Yep, and then 6 directors, 6 actors, in all the different categories there for acting. So, do we have to read the little bylaw thing here? I don't think so. Because, yeah, I don't think... Because, yeah, here's the thing. I will read it here just so it's clear. Members of the acting chapter vote to determine the long list, of which the top 7 are automatically longlisted. A longlisted jury selects a further 3 performances from the ranked 8 to 13 on the chapter vote to create a long list of 10. So the top 7 are in automatically, 3 get saved from elimination, from being longlisted here to be included. And then of these 10... members of the acting chapter vote to determine the 6 nominees. So, yeah, there's not a... because if I remember correctly, the jury thing was not about getting other nominees in. It was about, like, unless I'm very mistaken here, it was like the jury would save potential nominees and they would automatically put them in as a nominee as part of the 6, unless this is the same rule and I'm just misinterpreting the old way it was written or something, because they've definitely changed the way this was written from the last few years, because some of these jury things really have not worked out for BAFTA. There's been a lot of criticism and controversy around some of their past nominees and stuff. So anyways, the 10 that'll get whittled down, they come from Amy Adams for Night Bitch, Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Demi Moore for The Substance, Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez, Kate Winslet for Lee, Marianne Jean-Baptiste for Hard Truths, Marisha Abela for Back to Black, Mikey Madison for Honora, Nicole Kidman for Baby Girl, and Saoirse Ronan for The Outrun. At my current list for Best Actress, and I guess we'll spoil this, I booted Nicole Kidman in favor of Cynthia Erivo, so I now have her in for Wicked. I have Marion Jean-Baptiste in, and then the other three, Mikey Madison, Angelina Jolie, Carla Sofia Gascon. So those are all there. It's just going to be, okay, did I make a mistake? Did I kick out Nicole and I instead should put in Demi Moore? That's the big question. That's the big question. Or am I wrong on all those and Fernanda Torres gets in and I need to make room for her? And again, Torres is not listed here. Angelina Jolie not listed here. That's interesting. But Nicole Kidman is listed here, so we'll see. I expect, again, this Wednesday, I expect to see Nicole on the SAG list. I don't see her missing there. And then BAFTA is going to be close. I'll look and kind of determine here. Because this is going to be close. Because I feel like Kate Winslet could easily get in. Marion Jean-Baptiste, I think, has a slot already. Mikey will get in. And Carla's in. And probably Demi. So it's like, okay, you're kind of running out of slots there. Okay, Best Actor. 10 here. Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing. Daniel Craig for Queer. Dev Patel for Monkey Man. Interesting. Hugh Grant for Heretic. Jude Law for Firebrand. Kingsley Ben-Adir for Bob Marley, One Love. Ralph Fiennes for Conclave. Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. And Timothée Chalamet for A Complete Unknown. Which, yeah, Jesse Eisenberg I still have in right now for Real Pain, but after the loss tonight and the fact that he is not shortlisted here, I don't expect him to get in at SAG, but SAG is kind of his last hope. If he doesn't get in on Wednesday, I'm probably going to pull him in favor of, it's got to be either Daniel Craig, who I had in for a while, I might put him back in, or I might just flip the coin on Sebastian Stan and just see which one do I think he stands the better shot at. The Apprentice seems to be, getting more traction here as of late, especially with its BAFTA Longlist performance. But, he did win the Globe, though, for the other film, for A Different Man. So, you're going to buck one of those trends, then, by putting him in for one or the other. So, either way, it's going to be difficult. Let's see, who's up next here? Supporting Actress, I believe. Yep. The 10 here are Adriana Paz for Amelia Perez, Ariana Grande, for Wicked, Emily Watson for Small Things Like These, Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, Jamie Lee Curtis for The Last Showgirl, Margaret Qualley for The Substance, Michelle Austin for Hard Truths, Selena Gomez, and Zoe Saldana both for Amelia Perez. So, in my case right now, after I put in Cynthia Erivo, I'm like, okay, I have to put in Ariana Grande. Having not seen the film still, I still have to put in Ariana Grande. Saoirse Ronan is not on this list, and Blitz did very well in some of the tech categories here, but as you can see, Best British Film, and I didn't have much luck after that in these top categories. So Saoirse has been pulled from my list for Supporting Actress. Selena Gomez is still in, and the other four are Felicity Jones, Isabella Rossellini, Zoe Saldana, Ariana Grande now. So Margaret Qualley is very close. Daniel Deadweiler could have really used a save from one of those 3 slots, 7 to 10 slots, or I guess 8 to 10, I guess in this case. 8 to 10 slots here at BAFTA. Really could have used that. Obviously, Ingenue Ellis-Taylor, I think SAG is kind of her last hope. If she doesn't get in at SAG, I don't see a reasonable path for her to get in. Unless Nickel Boys just totally shocks us the morning of the Oscars and gets in for picture, director, she gets in. Maybe it gets in for a weird slot in supporting actor or something. Gets screenplay, gets cinematography, gets editing, really dominates and really actually gets closer to 6, 7, 8 nominations. If it totally shocks us there, okay, then I was just wrong. But, yeah. Otherwise, Danielle, she's gotten the Critics' Choice nomination. That's it. She could get in at SAG, and I'm really close to putting her in at SAG. I think she's really right there. She could very easily just get in, and I'm just wrong. But, Again, since Netflix is going to prioritize Amelia Perez, though, and Selena Gomez is on the list, as is Adriana Paz, who, if I'm not mistaken, is the actress who plays the love interest, minor spoiler here, love interest for Amelia Perez after the transition. If I'm not mistaken, that's the actress that they also longlisted here. The fact that they're in for 3, okay, I think that really, even though she could fall out of the list there for BAFTA for the 6 nominees, that really does, I think, really boost Selena Gomez's chance to get nominated at the Oscars. and at SAG on Wednesday. So, yeah. But still, there's still going to be some hearts broken in that category. I've been saying that for a few weeks now. Supporting actor, the 10 here are Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing, Denzel Washington for Gladiator 2, Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, Harris Dickinson for Baby Girl, Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice, Kieran Culkin for Real Pain, Mark Edelstein for Anora, Stanley Tucci for Conclave, and Yura Borisov for Anora. In this case, all 5 of mine are in, Tucci being listed here. I don't know what that does. If he gets nominated at BAFTA, then I don't know what I'm going to do, because I've got this theory that he's going to miss everything and get the Oscar nom. Yeah. But I'm also like, well, what about Ed Norton and stuff? Forget about Denzel getting nominated here. BAFTA rarely nominates him. Actually, if I remember correctly, have they? Let me look up his stats again. Hasn't he only been nominated like less than a handful of times at BAFTA? Or is it he's never been nominated? I can't remember what that stat is, that weird stat. I think it's never, right? I'm looking it up here. He got their Britannia Award in 2007, but yeah, he's never been nominated by BAFTA. So he's on the long list here, which I think, again, that's more of a credit to Gladiator 2's strength here in other categories and stuff. But I am not putting him in the list for the 6 at BAFTA. I don't think that's enough for him to miss the Oscars. I think he definitely gets in at SAG on Wednesday. He's gotten everything else, Globes and Critics' Choice and stuff. So I think he gets in at the Oscars as well. So, yeah. Let's see, the Casting Award. This one will be relevant next year at the Oscars when they introduce the Casting Award. Anora, The Apprentice, Back to Black, Blitz, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Kneecap, and Wicked all made the list here. A lot of those also repeated for Best Film, so that tells you something. Let's go ahead and move on to the cinematography category here. Anora, The Brutalist, Civil War, Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and The Substance. Those were all long-listed here at BAFTA. And right now, and we talked about Angelina Jolie being snubbed there, more or less, or left out, I should say, more likely in this case for lead actress. Maria is not long-listed anywhere at BAFTA either. And again, that's more of a question for me. Is it just a thing where it wasn't eligible and we just didn't know that, or do they just completely look over it? I think it's a fact that they just didn't care for the movie. So that one I still have in at the Oscars. I think it can get in. It's a past nominee. And again, as I've said a couple times, this branch, especially at the Oscars, very incestual. They really like to repeat past winners and past nominees. So that's why I think Nickel Boys, it might have struggled over here at BAFTA. I can also see it struggling here at the Oscars, getting into that list of 5. If it doesn't show up on the Cinematographers Guild, which is, if I recall correctly, that's not till next week. Or maybe it is later this week. I can't remember which date I saw on that, but that's coming up. They haven't announced their nominees yet. But if it doesn't show up there, then that kind of proves my theory that, yeah, even though it is, cinematography is one of the first things you think of when you see Nickel Boys. It's not necessarily a shoo-in to get nominated, though. But yeah, Nosferatu showing up here. Yep, that's, this was, actually, it's long listed in, make sure I got the right number here. Is it 5 categories? 5, yeah. Oh, yeah, there's one, it didn't get in at the Oscars for the shortlist for score, but it is long listed at BAFTA. So the 4 that I think it could potentially get into at the Oscars, Nosferatu, yeah, it is in all those categories here at BAFTA as well. But yeah, let's move on to... which one is next? Costume design is next, I think, by the alphabetical order here at BAFTA. Beetlejuice, Blitz, Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. And my 5 here at the Oscars, they're all in again except for Maria. Yeah, Nosferatu's in, Beetlejuice I still have in. Yeah, I feel okay about those. Next up is the editing category. This one, for some reason, again, I didn't fully realize this till now, but Brutalist got pushed out by Honora, Challengers, Civil War, Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Gladiator 2, Kneecap, and The Substance. Very interesting that it's off those lists. That one, I think, Brutalist, I think, is almost for sure going to get in. Will it win? If it repeats for and wins Best Picture, I can totally see film editing going along for the ride. So, yeah. Otherwise, yeah, September 5 missing here was big. Yeah, Civil War actually did pretty well over here at BAFTA. I don't think that one's going to have a lot of categories it's going to vie for at the Oscars, but yeah. The makeup category, this one's kind of interesting. We have the 10 here at BAFTA are The Apprentice, Beetlejuice, Blitz, Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Joker, Folie à Deux, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked. So you notice Complete Unknown is doing pretty well here. Complete Unknown is not shortlisted for, I don't think, anything except for sound, which is, kind of the only big tech category it's really going for. So, yeah. Different Man is not here, which, I've looked up a little bit more about the movie and stuff, and it does turn out, I believe that Sebastian Stan does wear prosthetics and stuff early in the movie, before the Adam Pearson character is kind of center frame and everything. So it's not just, a mistake of, it's all Adam Pearson. No, Adam Pearson's, appearance and everything, from what I still understand, is genuine from the movie. It's just Sebastian Stan wears some different prosthetics at different points in the movie, though. So that's why that one's in. So, yeah. Otherwise, Emilia Perez making it here was big to help that film's chances. Yeah, otherwise I don't think I have way too much else to comment on that one. For the original score category, the 10 listed here are Beetlejuice, which is also shortlisted at the Oscars too. Blitz, The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, The Outrun, The Substance, and The Wild Robot. So I think The Substance is not shortlisted at the Oscars though. Yeah. Otherwise, Dune Part 2, I think, probably would have been long-listed here as well. It's just, again, I think they're just kind of following the whole thing with the Oscars not qualifying for it because there's not enough original material. I'm not sure about the British voting rules on that, if it's the same deal or not. But, the fact that Beetlejuice is in there, even though, again, I'm 90% sure that has the same disqualifying facts about it that something like Dune Part 2 has, that's a little crazy to me. But anyways. The overall support for Beetlejuice, though, does show that my production design thing could happen for that movie. We'll see. Speaking of production design, when we get to this category, the 10 listed here are Beetlejuice, Blitz, Brutalist, Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked. So, all mine are, again, in here at the Oscars. But I had to make room for Nosferatu, so I'm really not sure what... Because here's my 5 right now at the Oscars. I've got Dune Part 2. I've got Wicked. I feel like those are the 2 safest picks. After that, I've got Nosferatu, I've got Conclave, and then I've got Beetlejuice. I don't have room for The Brutalist. I don't have room for Gladiator 2. Blitz could get in. I don't think Emilia Perez. But I think the other ones, that are on the long list here, like The Substance, I don't quite think so here at the Oscars. Complete Unknown, I feel like that's a real outlier, or a real long shot. But, if Blitz gets in at BAFTA, that really complicates this race. I don't think we've heard from the Art Directors Guild yet. If they don't put in Beetlejuice, then I can drop Beetlejuice and then easily put in The Brutalist or Gladiator 2 or Blitz into that spot, but we'll wait on that one. For visual effects, or in this case they call it listed as special visual effects, we're almost there, just a couple categories left. The 10 here are Alien Romulus, Beetlejuice, Better Man, Civil War, Deadpool and Wolverine, Dune Part 2, Furiosa, A Mad Max Saga, Gladiator 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked. Which in my case, I did have Mufasa. Mufasa is not longlisted here at BAFTA. And even though, yes, worldwide its box office has been very good, the U.S. box office didn't really pick up till recently. I don't know, I'm starting to sense that one's kind of out. So I put in Alien Romulus. I was close on putting that one in earlier, but now I decided to pull the trigger on this one, especially with the BAFTA support as well. We have seen a few, handful of the Alien films also get nominated in this category, so it makes sense to me. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it in there for now. And I think the sound category is last year, is it not? Yes, it is. Okay, last one. Thank God, and then we're done. It's a lot of talking here. So sound is Blitz, The Brutalist, Civil War, Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Gladiator 2, The Substance, and Wicked. And yeah, I'm really close to putting in Complete Unknown here, especially since I have it in for picture now. And again, I'm kind of stuck with my old reason for taking it out, which was, okay, Complete Unknown, picture actor, what else is it going to get? You could put in Ed Norton, sure. Maybe it sneaks in for screenplay on the adapted side, but I don't know. I mean, it could get sound. What else can it get? It's really I think it's a little limited in some of these, for sure, unless it really sneaks into the design categories, but I don't think it will. I think those are a little overcrowded with some of the other potential nominees. So, yeah, it's going to be, again, 4 of these feel pretty good to me, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we could totally see, by the way, Substance, 11 categories. So, yeah, we mentioned that. Complete Unknown. Let me double check here. I've got that one also down for 11. Is that correct? Let's see here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Shit, yeah, that's true. We talked about Gladiator 2. How much? Emilia Perez, I think, ended up with 15. Yeah, I think that's the number I saw. And then Conclave was 14. Yep. Yeah, so those were your 2 big winners. Yeah, so remembered, it's not 15 different short lists in the case of Emilia Perez. It's because 3 of them are from the same category in supporting actress and stuff. So, yeah. 15 total entries on the short list. So, dang. that's pretty damn good. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. After tonight's showing 2 for Emilia Perez, I don't think it's got enough in it to win Best Picture at this rate. I think with the subject matter and stuff, I think there's going to be just enough people within the Academy voting because it's 10,000 members. I think there are going to be some people, I think, that don't care for the movie, whether for its political views or its views on transgenderism and everything, and being gender fluid and everything. There could be just some very more conservative members in the Academy that put that down as the 8th, 9th, 10th film and everything on their Best Picture list and stuff. If we see just enough of that, I think that will disqualify it from winning as far as its chances mathematically and stuff. I think something like The Brutalist, something more like Conclave and Nora, those are in a better shot right now. Again, some of those more conservative members might also put a Nora pretty low because of, the whole call girl aspect and the stripper club scenes and everything. Not to say that, it's an immediate, no, and stuff, but with the comedy aspects, if they can get through it and stuff, I think they would still be able to list it at least like 4th, 5th, so that, I think would generally not hurt it way too bad, but, yeah. All right. And then again, if you've seen Conclave, though, you do know that some of those more conservative members, more the MAGA, maybe not to drop that in, but make it controversial in that way, but just people that would be more Republican based. We'll just put it that way instead. If they've seen Conclave all the way through the end, maybe, minor spoiler there for those that haven't seen it yet, but there might be some that maybe won't like it, and maybe they'll end up ranking it like 6th, 7th, 8th, some of them, but we'll see. I don't know. It's and then maybe some of them just don't like musicals, so Wicked could also kind of struggle with some of those voters as well, but... because I'm sure there's some people that argue like, well, these are the same voters that made like Green Book win over Roma, for example, and some of those, or they'll go back to Crash winning over Brokeback Mountain, or stuff like that. So we'll see. I don't know if you can blame him for everything, but anyhow, okay. I think we've had enough here tonight. So I will be back here on Tuesday. I'll wait till Tuesday. Give myself a little more time. We'll talk about, and I'll kind of figure out for myself what I'm doing with some of these SAG slots, and I'll solidify my final predictions there for SAG. And then, yeah, we'll be here Wednesday morning. We'll do live reactions to SAG as they come out. What else? Yeah, well, let's explore. I'll explore more thoughts on best on the Oscar list and stuff, and kind of think about some of these categories right now. And I'll kind of tweak a little bit here and there, and I'll get some updated Oscar predictions as well before the final nominations come out. So at least one more video on that and stuff. Maybe we'll just slot. Maybe on that particular video we'll spotlight more of like the trickier categories, the ones that are like, okay, we've got like 5 slots, but there's like 10, 11 contenders that we need to whittle down. Maybe those ones we'll save for a separate video and stuff. So, all right, I think that's all I got for now. So, thank you, Globes, as I always say.